what do you feel when you're in nature? What ambience do you feel? How sensitive are you to the ambience? Any nature, it could be a park, it could be Hampstead Heath, anywhere. And also just the way the light falls, the way the shadows shape themselves on the ground. Of course, death, growth, and just every ambience you can think of, the grey sky, the beauty of rain, and so on. And I thought, wow, let's explore that, let's really explore that, not as a message, there's nothing new about this, it's just the beauty of nature, let's just bring it forward in the film. So those came together, and very quickly I knew I had something, and that's what I told him. I said, I've got an idea for it, that's the island, I don't know yet exactly where it's going. It didn't have a turtle at that time, but that was enough for a little synopsis to start turning the wheels.
And you've touched on the fact this is a kind of unique partnership in terms of Studio Ghibli's history. I don't think this has ever been done before. And there are sort of three main kind of elements from Studio Ghibli: Miyazaki, Suzuki, and Takahata. And I'm really interested in terms of what they were able to offer you beyond the sort of financial support. Can you just tell us a little about what sort of artistic direction they go to?
Yes, the financial support we hardly talked about it, because that was just like, that's the ground behind the film. We talked about, let's go into this adventure together. And they said right from the beginning, we're going to try. It's new for us, it may not work. It's actually risky, it's definitely new for you. And we'll just see how it goes. And that's not unique to that situation. Many features start and get never made. It was never with Miyazaki himself. He was busy. He was working on The Wind Rises, and also the main directors of Studio Ghibli are Takahata and Miyazaki, and they don't work together. They kind of work parallel. They're friends, but there's a little bit of competition as well. And the third person was Suzuki, who was a producer. But he's one of those producers who is very intuitive and creative as well. Actually, he draws quite well, that people don't realize. And Takahata doesn't draw at all. He's one of those rare feature animation directors who doesn't animate at all. He can't draw at all. Anyway, Suzuki and Takahata were the two people who contacted me. Takahata was in this instance producer, not director. And my relationship with them was communication. I went there a number of times. Representatives from Studio Ghibli came occasionally to France, because we made the film in France. And I just wanted their feedback, their opinions, their suggestions, etc. In the beginning they were surprised, and I really insisted, I really want your suggestions, because it will be good for the film. And obviously I have to learn very quickly, a lot and very quickly. And also they have a sensitivity. I was just very curious about their opinions. Yes, they're Japanese, yes, we spoke through an interpreter, but at the same time, of course, we had common ground. We recognized each other. I adore their films, they like father and daughter, so we started already with that kind of mutual respect and a chemistry between us. And Takahata in particular gave many interesting suggestions. Some of them were literally changed the direction of the film.
And in terms of, you said that initially the turtle wasn't a part of it. At what point did the turtle become a part of it, and where did that come from?
Yes, so I've done a few short films that did well. I've now directed this, I wrote and directed this, but I'm not really a storyteller. Storytellers are people who have a lot of fantastic stories. I just have occasionally a story that works for me. And in this case, I started with the premise of he is alone on the island. We have established that he can drink and eat because you have to, and that's very quickly a bit boring. We've seen that over and over again in other films. It works. We want to know what's next. And I thought, well, tropical island is, in popular language, is seen as paradise. It's not. It's absolutely not. First of all, the beautiful blue skies and beautiful white beaches are not like that. They're different. You go mad with loneliness. You really do. I did my research on people who were in similar situations, and they really, really suffer from being alone. You only need one night with lots of mosquitoes. You can imagine how awful that is, and that's reality. A long time ago, I saw, I think it was on Channel 4, a documentary of Joanna Lumley spending a night on a desert island, and she really suffered from the mosquitoes. Basically, it's not his home. He wants to go home. He doesn't belong there. Now that from there, I thought, okay, what holds him back? Because I wanted him to stay in that particular ambience, that nature. So quickly you arrive at it could be a large marine creature, and I scanned my mind and I stopped immediately on the turtle. I thought, I found it. That's what we want. Not a huge octopus, not a whale, not a shark, etc. The turtle, that's what we want. I jumped in here, I was so excited. It was really the right choice. I'm describing this because that's how many of us write. We intuitively know when we have the right idea, and then we stand back because we have to question whether it works, whether it will be interpreted the same way as you want it to be, whether it's technically realistic. I mean, a giant squid would be technically a huge, huge amount of work. We would do it if we wanted to, but you have to think of that too. But there's something about the turtle, and already as a child, I thought, actually at school I wrote a story about a marine creature. What's special about the marine turtle is it lives in the ocean by itself, peacefully, quite a solitary creature. It has an ambience of immortality a little bit, and it lives in infinity. It's where it belongs. It leaves infinity, it leaves home to go on the beach with huge effort. Like us, it can breathe, like us, it has arms and legs and a head, and it climbs on the beach. It has to. It's absolutely her task. She has to do it. She digs, she lays her eggs, she fills the hole. I've seen one doing it in Indian Ocean. It was very moving. There were some people standing next to it, and I asked them, we should help the turtle. If she's not being smart, she's not even moving anymore. She's totally exhausted. And they advised me to wait, and indeed she had enough strength, and in fact surprising strength, to go back into the ocean. And there are umpteen YouTube videos of turtles doing that. And what's beautiful about her is that once she's done that, she goes into ocean and goes into infinity where she belongs. That by itself I find moving, and as a metaphor I find very, very attractive. So that's how it came together.
And when the original script was put together, was the dialogue in it, or did you always know that it would be a dialogue-free film?
It was supposed to be a little dialogue film. I knew the protagonist wouldn't talk to himself at the beginning. Tom Hanks is good at that. So he's fine not talking. And at some point I thought, well, if man and woman meets, there's some talking, even just one question or one sentence. And then later, as you've just seen, when the son is adult and he turns to his parents and he wants to communicate something to their parents, I really thought he needed to say something there. And it didn't feel right. And I didn't know why. I thought, okay, I've done conversations in commercials a lot. I enjoy them. In my short films, I haven't. Maybe I need external help to get the sentences just perfect. And I did. After a couple of years, I had a co-writer called Pascal Ferrand. She's a well-established, very good live-action film director, fiction film director in France, and she is also a scriptwriter for other well-established directors. And she said, yeah, the dialogue doesn't feel right, and we worked on it together, and it felt better at the end, but it wasn't like brilliant. But then at that point I thought, well, when we get the right actors in, and it's all mixed beautifully in the surrounding sounds, it will really feel natural. But eventually we dropped it. Why? Because when they talk, suddenly you realize their nationality. And that's a surprise, because that's very important in the film. If you don't know where he's from, the main guy, for instance, where he's from, what his context is, what culture he's from, what century, what his occupation is, his social status, anything. And that I found really attractive, that simplicity, that we are totally fresh with him. And as soon as he starts speaking, and we had two versions, French and English, because the film was made at Prima Linea in France, an animation studio in France, and also in Belgium. So we had a French version, and as soon as you hear him talking, you jump, you think, all right, he's French. And newcomers in the project, new animators and specialists who work at the final stages, they had the same reaction. They said, yeah, when he started talking suddenly, and I jumped, I thought, oh my God, I didn't realize he was English, or that he's French. So at that point, at some point, Studio Ghibli kind of advised me there, we dropped the dialogue completely because it just didn't feel totally right. Mentally, yes, but not intuitively didn't feel right. And my task was to make sure that the audience wouldn't think, hang on, why are they talking? It should feel natural. So I briefly animated very carefully. They spend much more time on the scenes that are replacing the conversations. It was very fine animation, and to make it feel like it belongs to the film, that they don't talk.
We're almost out of time, but I think that if there is anybody who'd like to ask a question,